All right, welcome back, guys. Sean here with Blue Ridge Silverhound, and the fallout from the announcement of the discontinuation of the penny continues with the pocket change market report. I am going to say that this kind of domino effect that we're experiencing is pouring all over the coin world as we speak, and it couldn't be any more obvious. From just activity within the last 10, 12 hours, it has been insane. Some of the coins have popped up. Prices beginning to spike. We're seeing 5 to 15% price spikes on a lot of the same stuff that we've talked about showing up here on the PCMR. Now, for those of you that have never been on the Pocket Change Market Report videos that we do twice a week, we talk about some of the most relevant finds that you could locate out there in the world today. That's whether you're going through your kids' piggy bank or going to the bank and buying up rolls of coin, which, by the way, it's getting progressively tougher to do. I've had a number of people that have reached out to me and they said, yeah, penny boxes, they're dried up out there. A lot of the banks do not have any. They've disappeared all within the last 24 to 36 hours since the weekend. It's been quite insane, to say the least. So we're going to take a look at all of these errors and varieties and various other key date type stuff that has popped up. Again, all the coins that we talk about are not graded. These are all raw, ready to go. And we're ready to embark on this journey. It's going to be quite amazing. Wanted to let you guys know that we saw on the platform Whatnot. It's one of the biggest, fastest growing live social media auction sites, bar none, today. There is nothing else that quite compares to Whatnot. I sell on the platform every Friday night, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, with some pretty amazing premier coin selections, US type, rare world coins, paper money, silver, gold, you name it. We cover a lot of these, and it's been amazing. If you wanted to join and have never joined onto this platform, I would highly encourage you to do so. Guess what? I have a QR code right on screen that you can scan right this moment. And if you sign up under me, guess what? I'm giving you $15 off your first item. Couldn't be easier. That's $15 more. You could save on that 1 ounce silver coin or whatever floats your boat. You can use it on any collectible that is bought and sold on the platform today. In addition, the platform is also looking for new spirited sellers on the platform as well. I will have my referral link down below in the description box. If you wanted to sign up to become a seller, couldn't be easier. Join today. All right, so we're going to go ahead and jump into these listings. Again, everything that you're seeing here is all within about the last 10 to 12 hours. Very tight window. Lots of activity, lots of new listings, lots of sales happening as we speak. And just to let you guys know, I have about 25 listings here. I could have very well put 100, all from within the last 12 hours. It's been that busy. This could all be speculatively attached to the news of the penny and Donald Trump's executive order to stop production in the meantime. Could it lead to an eventual ban entirely? That's kind of hard to say, but we're beginning to see some pretty drastic fallout, some effects as of a result of that announcement. Coins being bought out in record numbers right from the bank. And the banks are kind of having to defend them for themselves, fight them off with a stick, so to speak. And as part of that effect, there's a lot of singular coins that are being found in these rolls that have been selling really well since the announcement. So we're going to go ahead and kick things off here with a really nice looking 1924S Standing Liberty quarter. A much tougher date than what it appears, but the red circle that you see there, if you see a little letter E in the drapery of Our Lady Liberty, Fred, here, that is actually a clash of the E and E pluribus unum that you see on the reverse. This is a very well-known variety type. They just call it the clashed E. These are quite valuable, but considering that 1924S, this is somewhat a little bit tougher date. This one is already going to have enough baked in value, but this particular coin in this condition, it looks like probably VF, maybe like a VF 30, 35. It does appear to be clean, kind of hard to say with these photos. The coin might represent differently in hand. This one sold for $83.94, which is a really good amount of money. I'm sure the clash probably enhanced the value of this particular coin. And that clash, by the way, ladies and gents, if you're hunting through Standing Liberty quarters, you can actually find this on a few of the dates. So always look in that same spot in the drapery, right next to Lady Liberty's right knee, if she was looking at us, or left knee if we're staring at her. In that general area, look for that letter E if you do see that. That is a clash, and a lot of them, I believe, are in the Cherry Picker's Guide. Next one that we have here is a 1960, what it looks to be a 1965, or it could be a 69. Yeah, pretty weak strike on the obverse there, but the reverse is looking very, very, very nice. It looks like a regular hammered strike on that reverse. What we have here is a coin that was struck through a very late stage cap die, which means there is an actual coin that was stuck to the head of that die, and it was striking all the other coins after that with this coin still stuck there. So after a while, that cap or that coin will thin out after every strike. You can imagine the pressure that's involved in this process is slowly thinning out that coin. When it becomes a later stage type of cap die strike, that's where you're going to have the original design devices on the die that's starting to poke through that very, very thin cap and producing coins that you see here, where you could kind of make out, Lincoln's profile, the date, Liberty, things like that. This particular one sold for $46.75. Believe it or not, that's kind of like the going rate for these. These are very popular. Collectors, error aficionados really do like these. It used to be, I'd say these things sell for like 30 to 35 bucks. This one managed to pull in $46.75. Could this be, one of those coins that people just thought, we'll buy it because the penny is ending? I don't know. I don't know if this particular coin was directly involved in that. But we got to keep in mind, because of the announcement and how big it was, this is also going to draw more people who have never collected coins into the hobby. So I want you guys to remember that as we continue on through the rest of 2025. We have a 1956 silver washed-in quarter. This one, not the greatest looking example, with a good fair amount of carbon spawning on the reverse. But this one does have two clips on there, one at about 7 o'clock and another one at 10 o'clock, as you can see on the obverse of the coin. These are quite shallow. They're at this point, they're like sheet clips. That's how shallow they are. This one right here sold for $32.95. Again, just because says, some of the coin will develop some unsightly blemishes, it will still have its day in the auction world. Pretty neat one here, and one that I would imagine, and from the looks of it, has been overlooked. Quite a large deal. 1963D Lincoln Memorial Cent with a lamination. It's actually retained on there, which means it's still stuck to the coin. This is due to the impurities in the alloy mix, so sometimes we'll get what we call the flaky crust lamination, where you could, see it peeling right off the surface there. Similar to a croissant, if that makes sense. The seller actually gave this one a nickname called the bandaged head lamination, which is kind of neat. It fits the mold, it has a nickname. Surprisingly, this one sold for $26.99. Keeping in mind that laminations 5 years ago were never a thing. And now certain laminations are commanding, pretty good amounts of money depending on what they look like. The visuals of an error will always contribute very highly to the price of the coins. We've seen a fair number of these, but here's another one for you. 1980p Lincoln Memorial Cent that struck about 50% off center. As you guys know, these are collected very, very widely by date. So there are folks out there that are looking for a full date run. Maybe they're doing the whole entire series, which is a huge undertaking. Or if they're focusing maybe on 1980s, that might be a little bit easier. But this one right here, ladies and gents, sold for $29.51. Doing really well here. This coin is, one that'll be highly desired, for those particular era collections. 1925S Lincoln Wheat Cent coming up next. As you can tell, we're kicking things off here with quite a few Lincoln cents. Anybody see the correlation here? This one right here is not in the best of shapes. It is a coin that generally has a very weak strike, which, that explains what the reverse looks like on this particular example. However, this coin right here, there are a few varieties to be on the lookout for. This is actually Repunched mint mark number 2 in the files. You can see that secondary S mint mark, and that's even all of this circulation wear, still easy to see, is south and slightly west of the primary mint mark. This is one, ladies and gents, that is a good find. However, condition still really does matter, even with varieties. This one ended up selling for $8.99. The coin, I would say, you could purchase today for around maybe 40 to 50 cents. And that's given the condition and what it looks like currently. Neat one here too, 1996 Lincoln Memorial. Featuring very nice strike through on both the obverse and reverse. Struck through what you say? Grease. The very compound that, that helps move all the parts smoothly. And, they will show up on the dies. So when there's grease on the dies and they're, striking the coins, you're going to get a fair amount of the weakness that you see here. And this is a prototypical struck through grease coin, if I've ever saw one. This one sold for $19.90. Pretty good, considering that it is a copper-plated zinc composition coin, which some would say that there's not nearly as much desirability or collectability, but to the right people, they will spend the money on this. Almost $20 worth of value from this one single coin. And also look through your silver as well. We have this, actually, this one's awesome. I've never seen it before. And not even sure that it is a VAM recognized variety. It's a 1922 peace dollar, one of the more common dates of this series. You probably already see it. The coin is in actually decent shape. It's still got plenty of mint luster, plenty of chatter. It's not going to be like a high grade, gem specimen. This was probably more along the line of a mid-state 61. But yeah, check out this long horizontal die crack that eventually turns into a die break when you get into the word dollar there. I don't recall seeing this one in VAM World, and this is a common date that I normally go through to look for some of those varieties. So I'm happy to say that this one, a coin that traditionally you could pick up for under $30, sold for $79.95. Another great looking sale here. And, if this turns out to be a new discovery on the VAM attribution list, that's going to be a big deal, and the people that do find these, they could, cement their legacy and get their name attached to something like this. That would be pretty cool. Paper money also showing up quite extensively on today's list. This one, a 1934A, older, small head size. You can see that unprinted line that goes nearly right down the middle. They call that a gutter fold, which is really just a wrinkle in the sheet prior to it being printed. So when there's a wrinkle in the sheet and it's never stretched out before during the prep process, and then printed over, it will leave an omission of print somewhere on there where that wrinkle is. So this one right here, these are collected pretty well. Sold for $143.99. You can find them on Federal Reserve notes, silver certificates, newer notes, older notes, things like that. Looking at the reverse, it was properly printed over during this process. So that sheet, obviously, the wrinkle was kind of flattened out a little bit, so that way the back of the note was printed as expected. Here's another nice off-center strike, 1970D. This time around, this one about 50-55%, very close to that 1980. Nice full readable date and mint mark, and the coin is a very nice high-end red mid-state condition coin. This one is going to be tops in any date set. Although we have seen 1970D before, it's not particularly rare. This one sold for $24.27 with 3 bids. So this one was bid up to that amount. And someone is going to come away a happy camper by the receipt of this beautiful example. In this lot, you're going to receive 3 1955S Lincoln Wheat Cents. This particular seller has a number of these available. And Brian Rybar, who's a prolific seller not only on eBay, but also an attributor to a lot of our modern coinage. He specializes in nickels, I believe, Jefferson nickels. He sells quite a few very desirable varieties and errors on eBay. So this is his listing. 3, count of 3, 1955S Lincoln Cents. Nice condition pieces as well. These all have the BIE die chips, all right, which is very well collected. And they're starting to take off a little bit. They're not as affordable as they used to be. For the 3 coins here, it sold for $24.95. Pretty well done here. And, he has more. And he is selling these at a pretty good clip as well. Coins and Cards back at it again with a number of just banging selections here this week. 1870, talk about your tough date. Indian Head Cent comes up on the list with some nice die clashing on the reverse. A very pretty looking example, much tougher date. It is what we call a semi-key date in the series. It's probably maybe, I don't know, an AU details. The coin looks like it appears to maybe have been cleaned. It's got some of those fine hairlines on both the obverse and reverse of the coin. This one ended up selling for $560 with 23 total bids this time. Also from Coins and Cards, we have this 1864 Indian Head Cent. This is the L on ribbon variety as well, very desired. And it's also got a very strong repunch date as well. This one is actually in great condition. Probably like an XF45 AU50 caliber coin. Showing, just original appearances and looks to the coin. I don't think this particular one's been cleaned. No hairlines to speak of. Here's a little bit of a close-up of the repunching of the date. The 1 and 8 is quite strong on this one. The coin sold for $438 to the tune of 26 bids. And another fine specimen leaving the auction world. 1972 Lincoln Cents. This is the premier date to look through for any one of the big double the dies that exist. This one just so happens to be DDO number 8 or FS 108 in the Cherry Picker's Guide. This one has very exquisite doubling. You're going to see that here right now. You can see the splits and separation on the date, the word liberty, and the motto, "In God We Trust," all showing very strongly here. Very nice higher grade gem red, I would presume, maybe a mid-state 65 example. This one ended up selling for $133.90. I have a feeling that this date will be going bonkers again due to the news of the Lincoln Cent discontinuation, I suppose, or production halt. 1972 has always been a very, very, very desired date in full BU roll form. I have a feeling that these things are going to enhance in value quite strongly. 1962 Jefferson nickel, pretty simple. It's got a little delamination there on the obverse, that nice strip coming off there. Even simple coins, look out for things like this. What could or appear like damage might actually be something on the mid-error side of things. This one sold for $12.41 with 11 bids. And another fine premium specimen of a note. I mean, probably a few people have missed this because the note is pretty well circulated. 1935E $1 silver certificate. As you can see, some of the digits in the bottom left serial number string is missing. All due in part to what we call an obstruction. Could have been a sliver of paper that was sitting right on top of that subject sheet prior to the third print application on there. And this one, folks, sold for $65. And that was your final tally for this example. There's a little look at the reverse of the note, showing just very little minimal circulation wear, probably a few folds in there. We have a 1999P Roosevelt dime. This is a slightly off-center struck coin out of collar, probably 15-20% off-center, as we could see. Roosevelt dimes getting plenty of attention because of the announcement of the redesign for 2026 for the semi-quincentennial event. This one ended up selling for $49, and anything with a readable date, my friends, is going to be hot off the press. If you got these and you don't particularly care for them, might as well sell them now and enjoy the full brunt of the strong market for such examples. Another great one here too. Hard to find on much larger denomination coins. 1983p candy $half, off-center by about 10% on this one. And when I tell you guys the price, that's normalcy. That's how expensive these things are. $164.46 this time on this example. And again, the narrative never changes. This one, not graded. You don't have to grade every variety or error because they speak for themselves. They're easily to attribute or diagnose. And as long as you know what you're looking at and, can tell a legitimate one from a fake one, then you'll do okay here. And one that we've seen a few times before, this is one of those missing date cud die break Washington quarters. This one also has the retained cud on the reverse as well, where the word United is. Very strong coin here. One of the cheapest ones I've seen in a while at $53.91. These are generally up there in the $100 range or higher, especially the double cud types. Always command a little bit more extra money. And we've shown another one of these last week, 1999P, Susan B. Anthony dollar. This one is a broad strike, as you can see here. Very nice minty example as well. This thing was found out very early on, and this one sold for, kind of poetic justice here. A 1999 that sold for $99. And yeah, that's the going rate for these. There's not a lot of them out there. Although we did cover two of them in as many weeks. So, very, very widely collectible, especially with this weird kind of patterned edge design. A broad strike or an off-center strike, they look differently on these ones. Okay, and then we also have, again, Bicentennial coins with any min errors are just insane. Everybody's scooping these up. This one's off-center struck by about 20%. Nice looking example as well. And it's sold to the tune of $149.99. Strong money on this one, and we're going to continue to see that as we go forward into 2026. And this is the biggest, strongest double to die for 1972, the FS101. This one virtually needs no introduction. The doubling is, quite frankly, one of the wildest that you will ever lay eyes on. And as you can tell, the date, Liberty, the motto, all the big focal points, but even as well as Lincoln's jacket was showing that doubling quite extensively there too. This one, pretty nice sale. The coin's like a nice red-brown condition, I would say. $459 with 38 bids was the final tally on this one. And again, very strong money. We would expect to see the money just continue to be very well on these. One of the craziest ones I've seen, at first glance, it looks like just a delamination, kind of a clamshell type affair. And then I got to looking on the reverse. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. It's weak in that same area. So I've come to the conclusion that this is a partial split planchet before it was struck. And that's exactly what it is, because the area where the delamination occurred on that planchet actually makes the coin a lot thinner in that area. So these coins are minted to a certain pressure for that coin size and thickness. And then when you have an area that's a lot thinner, or there's a tapered planchet, obviously not all of the pressure is going to be applied in that case. So this one right here ended up selling. Again, this is one of those that's kind of like, I'm bewildered because it should have sold for a lot more, but $13 is what this one ended up selling for with 5 bids. I would have paid this all day long for this example. It's not your prototypical lamination error. This one is a lot more than that. And yeah, good gravy on this one. 1996, later modeled big head $100 bill. Yeah, look at the overprint with the serial numbers and all that. It's kind of drifting over to the left. As you can see, that top left serial number is like way off into the left margin there. Some would say, well, on much newer, like modern notes, you don't find errors. And then we find things like this. And then it kind of like, makes us kind of think twice about what we just said. Yeah. So, yeah, this one popped up. Sold for $300. 3x face value. So again, you just never know what you're going to find. If you do come across something as crazy as this, make sure you hold on to it. This is going to be a very easy sale. And then the last one, I have a little bit of an issue with this one because, it sold, but there was no front-facing picture showing the front of the notes with the stars. This is actually a full 100-note BEP bank strap of 2013 B duplicate star notes in order. And this is the only image that they had here. They had 2 images of just the back of the BEP straps. And then in the description box, this is the serial number range of the pack that you're going to be receiving. 05804-501 to 05804-600. So at least they did put that in there. I mean, the worst that could happen is you buy it and it's like, oh, it's not as described, and you sell it and send it back. But this one comes at a very, very hefty price tag. This one sold for $2,495. And that comes to roughly $25 a note, which is cheap because uncirculated notes of the duplicate star run, whether it's the DC print or the Fort Worth print, they're worth like $100 to $125 a piece if you sold them individually. So theoretically, someone can split up this pack and sell the notes individually and make 5 times their money. They can essentially turn that $2,400 or $2,500 and turn it into over $10,000 in profit in no time whatsoever. So again, my only issue, it didn't have an image of the front of the pack showing some of at least one of the serial numbers from the start of this range. But at the same time, $2,500, that's a lot of money. I guess take it and run if that's the way you want to sell it, because there are better options where you can profit a whole lot more. It is what it is. Pretty good sale there. Okay, and that comes everything to an end. Information in this video is for educational use only, not financial advice. Please do collect and or grade your coins responsibly. Before I let you guys go, first of all, I'm your host Sean with Blue Ridge Silverhound. I want to thank each and every single one of you for taking time out of your day to come explore the world of coinage and the collectability of such. You just never know what you're going to find. For every 5 cents, a quarter dollar, for every dollar bill that you may handle, you might actually be holding on to some riches in there. And we've seen a lot of coins sell for many tens of thousands of dollars that have exchanged hands hundreds of times. Before I let you guys go, okay, this whole thing with the Lincoln cent and the announcement from the president about, it's an executive order. Some would say that Congress could step in and nix it, which is still a possibility. This is not a permanent thing. It can lead up to permanence if nothing happens. All right. But I wanted to let you guys know that we will be keeping tabs on the market for these coins from this point forward. We are going to be dedicating a video talking about some of the recent relevant sales of anything penny related in bulk. So that's like rolls, bank boxes, maybe singular newer coins, things of that nature. U.S. Mint products, because we've seen already pre-sales for 2025 S proof linkage sets sell for 2 times what the proof set cost or value is on the U.S. Mint website is going for. There's a lot of these things that are happening, and you guys need a pulse to the market so that way you guys understand where you can benefit here as a seller, or where you can benefit in other areas as maybe a collector or a buyer or a hunter and things like that. And not to mention that we'll be talking with bank tellers and branch managers about this, because from what I've seen and what a lot of people have experienced, because as the news broke over the weekend and then Monday hit, people were running to the banks and they were getting cleaned out. Now, the banks, a lot of the banks, okay, especially the ones that deal in merchant services, that deal directly to businesses, local companies, things like that, they have to keep some of that on hand for them. But we are going to chronicle over the course of the next, I'd say, let's say 3 months, about what happens, as far as like reordering from the bank's point of view, just some of the pitfalls and challenges that they're going to face and that we as collectors are going to face trying to source as many linkage sets. I think people are getting very nostalgic, like right out of the gate, I'm not going to say for no reason whatsoever, but when non-collectors and non-investors kind of like come out of the woodwork and they're going out to the banks and hoarding bank boxes, that's kind of concerning, in a few different ways. And it could drastically change the market in a wild, unpredictable way that we have never seen before. So I owe it to you guys, now that this has occurred and that the first chips are beginning to fall as a result of this announcement, I want to let you guys know that we will be delivering any breaking tidal wave type news to you, and it would be my pleasure to kind of spearhead some of that. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in. It's going to be a wild, crazy, hell of a ride for 2025. We're already seeing it. I will talk to you guys later. Best of luck in your hunts, and I will see you on the next coin video. So long.